Good morning and welcome back to the Transformation Challenge. We're on day 2. And if you were here with me day 1, welcome back. If you're brand new, don't worry, you could go through the replay from yesterday and get caught up. You're definitely going to want to do this challenge in order because the days build upon each other. But don't worry, if you weren't here yesterday, I'll do a very quick recap and then we will dive into today's content. So I am so excited for this challenge. I got some emails and feedback from yesterday, and it was all really positive, and I was really happy to hear. And some of those emails that were just open and honest and vulnerable really mean a lot to me. I'm here to support you. And so it sounds like we were enjoying the content. We're ready to build on top of it for today. And today we're going to be a little more tactical. Yesterday was very much take a step back, big picture, and really look within and create some routines and structure and have some systems to how we're doing things. And we'll do a little bit of that today, as well as some tactical stuff as well. Now, I wanted to just kind of share my transformation. I talked about some of the tools that I've used yesterday in day 1, and I really was in a tough place, to be honest, to be completely transparent. I went from feeling trapped, burned out. I had no vision. For the life of me, I couldn't even I had no idea where I wanted to go, what I wanted to do, sadness, disengaged, and really withdrawing myself from my business and meetings, and just felt so lost. I didn't feel like myself. Like, I hated that. For me, I am very much like, I'm driven, I'm excited, I'm enthusiastic. Like, I love working and connecting, and I just did not feel like myself, and I hated how I felt. And I just felt like no matter what I did or tried, it just like things weren't working until I finally found the things that worked. And I lived this way for 5 years. It was way too long. And this is a big reason why I wanted to do this transformational challenge with our business owners and the people we work with, because I know what it's like. If you're feeling any of these things, I know what it's like. And I just wanted to share how I was able to move through that, because now my transformation is I went from all those feelings to feeling excited to get out of bed. Like, I'll go to bed at night being like, oh, I can't wait for tomorrow. I'm just so excited for what we're doing. I feel creative. I'm enthusiastic. I'm engaged. I put myself out there so much more. Like, I feel like I was hiding before, and now I'm really putting myself out there. I feel deep gratitude. I have a very, very crystal clear vision for where we're going. I feel energetic and so optimistic. And now I just feel like there's so many opportunities. And that word opportunities, I've been using a lot. It's coming up a lot. And I just feel like that's the whole kind of transformation. When we do transform into that next version of ourselves, we can find more opportunities, better opportunities, more exciting opportunities that are more in line with what we're trying to achieve. And that's where I have a conference called Evolve. And one of the first things I have people do is write their U 2.0 letter. That's kind of that transformation. Where am I going? What do I see me a year from now? And this is another really great exercise for you to do. And when you do that letter, again, that's where opportunities can come in and you can see things a little bit differently. And so, just to recap yesterday, the things that worked for me is I stopped hitting snooze and I got up at the same time. I moved my body almost daily, and I do that to this day. I'm journaling every single morning. I started asking better questions. I said yes to a lot of things. I set clear intentions of what do I want to get out of this, and I focused on my future self. I also got therapy. That was very helpful for me. The type of therapy I got was IFS, internal family systems. I can't share enough good things about that. I focused on the word of the year that took me to new levels. I got clear on how I wanted to feel, what I wanted to achieve, and set those SMART goals. I'm continuously working on my life strategy. We talked about that yesterday, and that's something that's newer that came to me the end of last year. This is an ongoing process that you're really building and checking in on. And then I invested in myself majorly, and that has really helped me show up as a completely different business owner in person, because I bet on myself and invested in myself. Now, the results, honestly, changing how I felt and how I started showing up different was a big enough win for me because I finally felt back to normal. I felt so aligned. I felt in flow. And just when you have that feeling, it's almost like you can't put a price tag on that. But other things came from this transformation as well. Last year, I spoke on the most stages I ever have. I almost doubled my record before that. I was on 18 in-person stages. I launched my own in-person conference that went better than I could have even expected and anticipated. I launched a fast-growing podcast and YouTube-based show called Rooted in Retail. I received the 40 Under 40 award here locally in Northern Colorado. And I created deeper partnerships with who we were already working with, and we took on new partners. And then we had the highest sales that my company has had in the 11 years that since I've started this company in 2012. So we saw some really, and these are like high level. There's so many amazing things that happen throughout too, but there's just a massive transformation. And again, what I've used really helped me get here. And so the thing is we're going to talk about today on how we're jumping into action, because that was part of the thing that we discussed yesterday. Here are the tools, use them, get into action, because that's going to create momentum. And we'll talk more about how to create momentum today. And then I also have a special invitation at the end of today's webinar to work one-on-one with me. Something that we rarely do. Right now, how Crystal Media is structured is retailers will work with my team. And we've created something that's very close to my heart, something very special that I'll tell you about at the end of today's webinar. So let's talk about jumping into action. We talked about those SMART goals yesterday that are specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and timed. And so what we're going to do is we're going to take those SMART goals and we reverse engineer them to create the tactics and strategies that we need to get done in order to help us achieve those results. So let's take a couple of SMART goal examples. We want to increase our average ticket by 15% in 3 months. We want to 2x a specific line that we sell, a category that we sell, a service that we offer. We want to double those sales. We want to grow our email list by 100 new emails a month, because let's say if emails is one of the best ways that you're generating sales, then we want to keep getting those emails into our funnel. So these are smart, right? They're specific, they're easy to measure. We can measure all of these things. They're achievable. It just depends on the data and what you've done so far. They're relevant to the business, and then they're timed. They all have, new per month. Maybe there's a deadline for that last one for the emails, and then we're going to check in 6 months from now. We want to 2x a specific line category that needs a deadline. The top one is we want to increase our average ticket by 15% in 3 months. So that's very smart. So I'm going to take that top one and go through this process that I recommend for our retailers on how to reverse engineer. So basically, you set the SMART goal, and then you go backwards and you start thinking, okay, what are all the ways that I can reach that goal? What do I have available to me? What assets, what budget, what team members, what do I know that's working now? And you just start doing a brain dump. And so in this case, I just wrote down several different ways that I could reach this goal. Let's say if I'm a retailer and this is what I'm trying to reach. So I could do a carousel post on Instagram of several bundles that are 15% higher than my average price. Now, a carousel post, for those of you who don't know what that is, on Instagram, that's where you go, you open up the app, you're going to hit the plus sign because you're going to post, and you're posting to the feed, and you're just selecting at least 2 photos. Right now, carousel posts are the best type of content you can post on Instagram. They tend to have a heavier weight in the algorithm, seen by more people, and people tend to stay on that content longer because they're scrolling through. So if I want to increase my average sale by 15%, I should be posting products that are above the average sale by 15%. So bundling is a really great way to do that. And I can have these weekly carousels of those bundles. I could do a weekly live stream focusing on higher priced point items in my live stream. I could be doing weekly emails that will feature those items or those bundles that are 15% higher. I could also focus on add-ons or upsells. I could send a postcard to people to bundle and save. I could have my team make sure that they're doing cross-selling, upselling at the register. I could send text to people in our loyalty program to try to sell more to them. I could have a radio ad in my store for any of my brick and mortar businesses on this call. This is kind of a pro tip. I really recommend doing this. If you have a physical space that customers are coming in or clients are coming in, if you're playing music, which ideally you should, because studies have shown that people stay at least 20% longer in your business if you're playing music. So we want to play music, but if you're streaming and you play ads, they need to be your ads, nobody else's ads. I was at a conference last year in Nashville and I gave this tip. It needs to be your ad streaming. And afterwards, one of my attendees came up and he owns several cell phone locations. And he was like, I have to tell you, the other day I was in the store and a T-Mobile commercial came on. Like, he sells cell phones and plans and he's got a T-Mobile commercial that's coming on. So we want to make sure it's your ad. This right here, the cloud cover music, it's $20 a month. It allows you to stream music in your business and have your own commercial. So those are some of the ways we could be talking about our bundles or upsells, add-ons to increase the sale by 15%. So that is just an example of brain dump, all the sorts of ways that I can get there. Now, what can happen sometimes is we can feel like that's really overwhelming. All those things are so overwhelming. There's so many ways. I've often said this. There's a mountain of money over there, and there's so many paths to get to the mountain. Wow, I don't know which one to take, And so this is where we do the brain dump. We try to figure out, okay, what are the 1 to 3 that we know we could get done, that from our data or past experience, we've seen it work. We, try to leverage, try to do things that are easier versus fighting against. Pick 1 to 3 campaigns and try them for 1 to 3 months. Or if your SMART goal is for 6 months, then you can commit to that for 6 months. But keep it simple. Also, all those ideas that I just listed, like all the tactics to help you get to that SMART goal, use ChatGPT, which is AI technology, to go in and say, my goal is to increase my average sale by 15%. This is my business and what I sell. What ways do you suggest I can do this? Now, all of a sudden, you've saved yourself maybe over an hour of time of trying, and that all that brain power of like trying to think of new ideas, boom, ChatGPT is going to do it for you. Now, what I do in that scenario, I'll set a timer and I'll spend 10 to 15 minutes brainstorming my own ideas. And you set a timer because you're focused, you're laser. And like, this is why I work so well on an airplane, because when we go up in the air, I've got however long until they're going to tell me to turn my computer off to get my work done. So I always have an airplane agenda, and I'm the most productive on airplanes because it's focused time. It's timed, right? We're so productive right before we go on vacation because we need to get stuff done. So set your timer, do your own brainstorm, then go over to ChatGPT and ask it to list those ideas for you, just so you don't miss out on your own creativity. Or like I talked about yesterday, in the morning, that's when I'm doing my journal sessions. And if I've got that SMART goal and I need to brainstorm ways to hit it and achieve it, I'll do that during my journal session. I don't know why I'm having the hardest time saying session today. So then we take the 1 to 3 campaigns, try for 1 to 3 months. And if you have somebody on your team, assign this and include those details and timelines. We use a tool called Asana to get this done. I'll show you that in a second. But so in this case, I call these focus strategies. So I might say, I'm going to do the carousel post every week. I'm going to do a weekly live stream. I'm going to do my weekly emails. And that's where I'm focusing for the next 1 to 3 months. And if I have anybody on my team, they're going to be executing this for me. Or if it's just me, then I'm putting it on my to-do list or my Asana, and I'm assigning these things to myself to ensure it gets done. Because I'm such a believer that if it's not scheduled, it doesn't exist. And this is how we create momentum, guys. Like, this is how we get it done. It's about getting into action. We've got to assign it to ourselves or our teams. We have to have deadlines. We have to be very clear on the goal and the expectation. And then boom, we jump into action. So we set those SMART goals, reverse engineer them. And then just going back to your life strategy and your business strategy, I really want you, and if you didn't listen to day one, you're going to want to go back, listen to day one, because we talked all about your life strategy. But when is this going to be done? Put it on your calendar now or right after this call. Like, is it the end of this week? Don't wait too long for this, because then the information is going to be a little cloudy, and then you're going to be not as engaged. You'll be a little disenchanted as time goes on. So is it by Friday, you're going to get that life strategy done? How are you anchoring it? We talked about this briefly yesterday. Anchoring is when we're telling people what our goals are, the change we're trying to create, what we're trying to achieve. Just one person. And again, I could be that one person. You could tell me by anchoring it, or you could share it to the world on your social, however best works for you. What are your success metrics? Make sure that you're clearly defining those, and how will you celebrate? And I want you to put those in your to-do list. Again, I use Asana. And so you could say, by Friday, I'm going to have this done. I'm going to know how I'm anchoring. I know what those success metrics are, and I know what I'm going to celebrate. Friday comes, you do your life strategy. You're then scheduling, again, on Asana or wherever you schedule, that deadline. So you remember me yesterday, in 3 months, if these things are done, Dustin and I are going on a weekend vacation. So in 3 months, I need to put that on my Asana, that this is the deadline. But then we're working backwards. And remember, in this article, it talks about 15-minute check-ins on your life strategy. This creates momentum. Again, that's all about the momentum, because we've set things in place to ensure that we're checking in for 15 minutes. Am I on track? Do I need to modify? Do I need to change? Exactly what you set into place, doing that exercise can evolve, and it should evolve. Allow it to. But that's where you've got to really check in on those 15 minutes weekly, and make sure they're scheduled so they get done. And then there you go. When are you checking in? Put it on the calendar. Make sure you're doing it. So again, we sent out these resources. If you haven't got the chance to scan, to do your one sheet, this is the one sheet. This is going to guide you, but you're going to go through that whole article and make sure that you do the work. Now, anybody that's here with me live, yes, Pauline, I want a mountain of money. Heck yeah. Don't we all, right? Anyone that's with me live, chat in. Did you already start on anything we talked about yesterday, your life strategy or the word of the year? Did you think about maybe some new morning routines that you might do, or journaling prompts? Anything that you started yesterday, chat them on in, because I want to see where we are. And then if you're watching this replay, you can always chat me, you can email me, you can chat me on DM and tell me, like, where are you? It's my goal to kind of help hold you accountable through this too, because accountability creates momentum. And that's one of my most favorite words. Diane, yes, working on my word of the year, narrowing down. Yes, Diane. And Diane, if you're the one that sent me the email, I got your email, and I will respond and thank you for that email. And I'm sending you a ton of love, and thank you for being here. Della, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. Working on word of the year and starting daily journaling. Yes, I love it. Pauline, I'm late for my word of the year, but I will finalize by Friday. I like it, Pauline. And you got to anchor it by telling me. Pauline, for those of you who don't know, is my COO and dear friend. And so we have a lot of fun working together, that's for sure. Deanne, so good to see you here. Started slowly with morning routines. Already chose my word of the year. I love it. And can I get this sent to me, Valerie? We will send the replay after. So since you're here, you'll get the replay. Donna, already have a word for the year, but going to think about how to apply to my business. Yeah, Donna. And, in the past, Donna, I've also done a word for me personally and a word for the business. And so that could also be something that you leverage as well. And then growth is Pat's word. Yes. Oh, I love that, Pat. That's awesome. Working on the word and getting a new journal. Awesome. And Dawn says the morning routine is a must for me. Word of the year is #no excuses. Oh, dang. Okay. Can I talk about excuses here for a second? Dawn, that is so good. That is so good. It's so good to see you here too. So I've been calling myself out. I've been making an intentional, I've just been intentional about, is this an excuse? Like, can I get this done? Am I procrastinating? Am I resisting it? I'm a very capable human being. And anytime I see this, oh, I just couldn't get to it. Oh, I didn't have the time. I'm like, no, I'm sorry. That's not true. I had the time. I chose to spend the time on something else. And so I love the no excuses. It holds you accountable. So good. Patty, my word is simplify. Yes, Patty, I love that. That was one of my words a couple years ago. I don't know if I did a good job that year of simplifying. But man, that's a really good one. And Allie, I missed yesterday's call, but listening to the first 10 minutes this morning, and I'm loving it. My word for the year is both personal and biz are confidence and organization. Ooh, so good. And Allie and everybody listening, I just want to remind you that confidence, we don't start with confidence. It comes from courage. You have to have the courage to put yourself out there, to get started, to do the scary thing, to make new habits, to change, to transform. And as we do those things over and over and over, then we build the confidence. We build confidence through the courage and the capability that we create. We create those capabilities through doing it over and over and over again. So, Allie, I want to just maybe confidence is a perfect word for you. And I don't know the context at all, but I do want to encourage to think about courage as well. That one's a tough one. And Canny, I apologize if I'm saying that wrong. What about employee excuses? Would it be okay to tell everyone you work with no excuses? I mean, here's the deal. You are the leader, you are the business owner. So the culture that you create, that's on you. So this takes me back to my Chili's years when I used to be a waitress at Chili's for 4 years, one of my favorite jobs. And our GM said, you leave your problems at the door. And he would say it over and over and over. You would always hear Pat say, leave your problems at the door. And that was a reminder that a lot of people often needed, because in the restaurant business, you're like chatting with your friends and you're talking about the guy you're seeing or the party that's going on or an issue you have with your car. And then you forget, like, you have these tables out here and it's like, no, we're focused. Like, we are focusing on our tables. We're not complaining. We're bringing the energy. And he'd always say, are we set up for success? And I stole that one. I say that all the time too. And so, that was going into it at Crystal Media. Our motto is we are happy to help. And we talk about this a lot for each other, for our retailers, for our partners, anybody. No question is dumb. We are happy to help. And that is ingrained in everybody that works here. So for you, if it's no excuses, and we talk about that and what that means for you and explain why that's important, then that can become part of your culture and part of the messaging of what it's like to work there. So, and I think that's strong. Miranda, my word is grace, navigating new motherhood and owning a business. Miranda, we were just talking about you yesterday, and Pauline and I were on how happy we are for you. Congrats, mama. And all right, thank you everybody for sharing. Such good shares. I mentioned Asana several times. We actually are doing something really cool at Crystal Media. One of our speakers for our conference Evolve, her name is Beth Rich, and she uses this tool to create a lot of systems within her store. And we use it at Crystal Media as our marketing calendar. It's how we delegate everything to everybody. Maddie on our team will assign stuff. It's a project management tool. And so I'm partnering with Beth to create training on how to use Asana for a retail store and to create a lot of efficiencies. So that should be available in April when we have Evolve. I'm so excited for that, but you don't have to wait till April. I mean, you can jump right in with Asana. They've got some training. The best way to learn technology is to just start to click around, to start using it, click the buttons. But I really feel to create that momentum, you need systems. You need to be organized. Set yourself up for success, like Pat said to me at Chili's. And Asana is one of those tools that can be really great for you. If you don't get ultimate clarity, you don't get ultimate clarity until you jump into action. So here's the deal, because you're going to set your SMART goals. And then you're going to start doing your focus strategies, right? You reverse engineer, you're doing your focus strategies, and then you're going to learn through the doing. And then you're going to be like, oh, I don't know if this is actually the right goal, or this isn't what I want to be focusing on, or this is exactly what I want to focus on, but we can go even bigger or better. You're not going to know any of that until you jump into action. Now, building momentum, you got to be really clear on what you want to achieve, the goals, the vision, where you're going. You have to focus on your customers and you have to serve them. It is all about them. And when we focus on our customers and serve them, we might create new programs, better offerings, things that really support them. And when we are supporting them the best that we can, that's where we start building more momentum, because we tend to see it flows better. We're in alignment because we're offering the right thing that people need. And that creates that momentum. Create crystal clear messages for your marketing. People need to be able to really read quickly on social media, or in your videos on social, or on your website, or any kind of marketing material. They need to be able to quickly know what it is you do, who you serve, how you help. And if they qualify for somebody like you, and you need to then repeat that everywhere, over and over and over. It's all about the consistent brand. And so I want to make sure that you have that. Using a tool like ChatGPT is a good way to use that. Spending some of that journaling time in the morning to get that crystal clear message, then looking at all your assets to make sure that it's everywhere. But when this was a big thing for us last year, is that I got really clear on our messaging, and we upped our brand, and we just fine-tuned things to get much more connected to who we are and who we serve. And through that, it makes it easier for other people to talk about us, for other people to find us, and for people to know if they should be working with us or not. Then you have to have the plan and the system. And Asana is a part of that. The SMART goals is a part of that. Really creating your marketing plan and knowing how you're going to execute. And tomorrow we'll talk a little bit more about the system, because we will get a little bit more into AI and how to be seen and grow that visibility. And so it's more about that marketing. So it kind of connects with that plan. So we'll go deeper on that tomorrow. And then leverage your assets and your strengths. Like, I think so often we make things so much more complicated than they need to be. I mean, I'll be the first to raise my hand and say that I do that. It will be like us entrepreneurs, it's just built within us. We want to build something new, or, okay, I did that. That worked. Now, what else can I do? And it's like, well, hold the phone. That thing worked. Can you amplify that? Like, can we leverage it? Can we grow that to be even bigger? And so look at, I think this is another great journaling morning exercise, or whenever you do your best brainstorming, of really looking at your assets and what can you leverage. This is from a team perspective, the qualities that stand up for you, what makes you unique, what makes your business unique, and really looking at those assets and strengths and leveraging them. And do they need to come forward in your marketing copy and on your website? Are we clearly communicating these things? Do we have the people in the right seats? For you, do what you enjoy, what you're best at, have fun, and making sure that your team is in the right seats. And a great book is called Strengths Finder. And if you haven't, you take the test. They have a corresponding book. And Strengths Finder analyzes your top, I think they do a top 10 in the newest version of it. When I did it, it was top 5, but then you could get more of your strengths, but really like the top 5 matter. And it explains, based on your top 5 strengths, how can you leverage those, and what kinds of roles would you be good in? And then what kinds of roles would you be bad at? And so, for example, one of my top 5 is innovative. And it says in the book, you're always saying, wouldn't it be great if, and you're thinking about kind of the future. And I do that all the time. And that's where, if I'm not innovating, if I'm not creating, if I'm not brainstorming, if I'm not looking to the future, like, I love technology, I love AI, I love change. It's why I'm in social media, and I got in the industry very early, almost from the beginning, because that's just who I am. So if I cut that stuff out, or I delegate that stuff, I'm not going to feel as fulfilled. I have to really lean into my strengths. And this whole book really talks about do what you're good at and delegate the rest. And often with our, and you should do the same with our team, your teams. So often with our team, we will be like, okay, they are, oh, you're not great at that, but I just need you to do that. So you need to figure out how to get it done. And there are cases, I know, there's just cases where small businesses, sometimes we got to put people in roles that maybe they don't love, or maybe they're not that strong at, but that's just what we need them to do today. The ultimate goal is that you've got people in the roles that they love that caters to their strengths. Because when people are in roles that they're weak at, they're not going to, maybe they get better, but they're not going to enjoy it. And they're just never going to either stay long term or be as good as they could be. It's going to be a weakness in your business. Our teams are so valuable to us. And so it's really important for you to understand your strengths, your team's strengths, the weaknesses, and then just do more of what everybody's strong at and change, get people out of what they're weak in. That will definitely create momentum for you and your team. And then commit and be consistent, always be marketing. I talk a lot about this in my social media presentations about if you don't show up, you don't exist. And it's true. I mean, the consumer has so many choices today. They are scrolling. They are spending on average 3 hours and 14 minutes on their phone. Gen Z is over 6 hours. They're consuming content daily, multiple times a day. If you don't show up, you don't exist. So when we really know our customers, we know how to serve them, we're crystal clear in our marketing messaging, we're really leveraging our strengths and what we're unique and best in, and then we're continuously showing up. That's how we'll continuously build momentum. And also for me, this has been a huge one. Changing your environment has helped me build momentum. This is where I talked about investing in myself yesterday. I go to conferences, I go to markets, I go to my partners to meet with them. I go into different environments. And there's a really great book called Willpower Doesn't Exist. And the whole thing about this book is it's not about if you have willpower to get stuff done. It's about the environment that you put yourself in. And so we have to put ourselves in the right environment, and your environment has to set yourself up for success. And when we change environments, this book talks about how people in their studies and case studies in there of how people have created, have innovated entirely new businesses, an entirely new revenue stream for their business, changed the model, answered a question they were struggling with because they got out of their day-to-day environment. And some of you might be able to relate to this if you've ever gone on vacation. And all of a sudden you have this like brilliant idea, or you're like, oh, why didn't I think about that? This would happen a lot for me and Dustin when we lived in California. We would often in the middle of the week, we would cut out of work early and we would go to Disneyland. And every time I went to Disneyland and I had just this like excitement, it was a new energy. I was ready to be a big kid and just play and be in a new environment. We would make sales. I was like, okay, we need to do launches while I'm going to Disneyland because somehow it's working out for us that we're seeing more revenue come in. And then when I'm at Disneyland and Dustin and I are talking, it's like, oh, a new idea. Oh, that topic would be so good. That training needs to happen. And it's just, I'm more on. So the power of being in a new environment, I really recommend that book. I can't think of the author right now, but Willpower Doesn't Exist. So good. So it's about building momentum so we can keep in flow. I say that word a lot because I love momentum. I love that feeling of being in momentum. And those 5 years that I struggled so badly, I did not have momentum. And it felt like I was pushing this massive boulder up a massive mountain, not a money mountain, just a really rough, rigid Colorado mountain. And I didn't know why I was doing it, where I was going, what was happening. It was just just such a blurry, fuzzy, hard time. But then when I did all these things that I talked about and it happened over time, I started building more momentum and build more momentum. And then that just helps me keep going and thrive and just be in a place that I'm so grateful to be in today. And Diane says going to trade shows that I have gone to for years, but I'm signed up to go to different events that I've never attended to meet new people and have new experiences. Exactly, Diane. I'm so glad that you said that because we can get kind of stuck in a rut or we do what we're comfortable with doing. So we might always go to the same event or the same market or the same conference. But then you have to ask yourself, am I getting what I need out of this? And if you are, that's great. But changing the environment, being around entirely new people, having an entirely new conversation, new markets are going to have different products and different lines. You're going to see things differently, and it creates more creativity and more transformation in our businesses. So I love that you said that. So again, you don't get ultimate clarity until you jump into action. And if you feel any of these ways, then I have a special invitation for you. If it's hard for you to sit down and create a plan, to strategize your life, to vision cast, you just never find the time to do it, or you do sit down, but then you just can't get it done. You struggle with thinking bigger or differently and pushing yourself to different levels. And in fact, I just heard this on my own podcast. I was listening to my Rooted in Retail podcast this morning. And my guest and I were talking about the book 10X is Easier Than 2X. And another great book recommendation if you haven't read that one. And in that book, we were discussing on my show today that the 10X version of you is really, it's hard because you're not there yet, right? You're in today's version. And so it's a little easier to do 2X and be that version. But the 10X version, you don't even know what that version looks like because those are a whole new, you could be doing whole new offerings. It could be a completely new type of business that you're in. So it's hard to be that person. And so that's where, doing some of these exercises, really working on the journal, getting in new environments, we've got to push ourselves to think differently. That book will definitely help. You don't have a digital marketing system and most likely wasting time marketing your store and your business because there's no system, because there's no plan, there's no strategy with what you're actually doing or not using the tools that are working today. You don't have a marketing plan for 2024, beginning of the year. Maybe you haven't got there yet, but I really recommend we build that momentum when we've got that plan. You have a business problem or challenge you don't know how to solve. You're unsure of how to leverage AI, which we'll talk more about tomorrow, but this is going to save you so much time and create efficiencies and just be like this free employee. There's so much benefits that we really need to leverage as a small business owner. Or you feel lonely in your business. That was me for so long. And that's where I was searching for groups and people and resources. And unfortunately, I got into some of the wrong groups that actually inspired me to be somebody I wasn't. And that happens with entrepreneurship when we're just trying to figure it out, right? But it can be really lonely doing business. And you're like, am I on the right track? Am I doing the right thing? Am I headed in the right place? Like, can somebody look at this? Can somebody help me? If you can relate, then step into a new environment and join me and my team at the Oasis of Opportunity Retreat. And I specifically call it the Oasis of Opportunity because number one, we're going to be in Palm Springs, which feels very oasis, and opportunity. Like I said, my transformation has led me to see so many amazing opportunities and have the energy and the clarity to go after things to create that momentum. And that's exactly what I want for more of you and to be a part of that. This is a new experience to take your business further. And so at the Oasis of Opportunity Retreat, this is where we're spending 2 full days of education and masterminding and brainstorming to create that clarity for you, to have that creativity that maybe you've been lacking or you just needed other people, like two heads are better than one. I say that all the time, and really create that connection. So this is happening February 18th, 19th, and 20th. The 18th, we're doing a kickoff dinner. It's a themed dinner, old Hollywood. So yes, dress up and get to know everybody. Then 19th and 20th is all day of masterminding, brainstorming, learning, vision casting, life strategy, digital marketing plan, AI tools. We have an amazing guest speaker I'll tell you about in a second. Like I said, it's at this house. This is our venue in Palm Springs, and we only have 12 tickets available. Right now, as I'm filming this, we only have 8 left. So this is a very exclusive opportunity. I wanted to keep it small so we have time to work on everybody's business. I'm going to be there. Pauline, my COO, who is here live on the call, is going to be there, who I've worked with for over 10 years. Pauline went through it with me with everything that I talked about in my transformation, was an incredibly supportive human being. Ooh, I feel like I could get choked up, Pauline. We went through a lot, and I'm just really glad that we are here now. She offers so much value. She's operational, but she's human focused. She is just incredible addition to this retreat. And then Steph is our digital strategist. So if you've got those social media questions, something you can't figure out how to do something, you need some hands-on, you need content ideas, you want to know what's working, what's coming in the future, Steph's going to teach that at the retreat. And then Maida Resenberg is my dear friend from One Coast. She's the president of One Coast, a 200 employee operation that she is running, and they are just doing innovative things in the industry. But Maida, I asked her to come speak to this group and participate because she is a refugee from Bosnia, has an incredible story, and has found opportunities to put her where she is today. And she has a beautiful mindset and thought process on life and on business. And she's a natural born marketer. So she's going to be an incredible addition to this, to our event. So I just can't wait until this. I'm very excited for this. So at the retreat, we're going to tackle your biggest challenges. If you're worried about the economic uncertainties or your own business uncertainties or marketing problems you're having, it could be team related. There will be so many different things that we're talking about. If you're thinking about selling your business, opening another business, anything like that, these are all tailored solutions. It's intimate in person. You get to connect with a team of experts and your peers. Part of this is going to be hot seats, where I went to a group coaching last year, and it was a 6-hour event. Each person had 45 minutes of hot seat. That was it, 45 minutes. And then we did dinner together. It was a $10,000 event, and the power of having, and that was a big investment. I was like, okay, I'm spending $10,000 for basically a 45-minute hot seat. It was more than that. I got to connect with people and hear their problems and go to dinner. But I'm like, okay, how can I multiply this? But why I love hot seats, I got so much out of that hot seat. You have advice from the group that's going to be in the room. And I tell you, the people that already have their tickets and the team that I just shared, you've got a powerful group that's going to be in the room. And so we get to hot seat your business and focus on you. That's a part of this. I can't wait. Those hot seats are my favorite. Transformative training, understand how to leverage social media, digital marketing, AI to drive more traffic and sales, how to use it from a system perspective to save you a lot of time. Time is money. And then, like I said, we're going to have Maida with us to talk about marketing, retail, business growth. So I talked about how you build momentum, getting clear, focusing on your customers, creating your marketing messaging that's crystal clear, your plan, your system, leveraging your assets and your strengths, having fun, knowing what you're best at, committing and being consistent, always be marketing, and changing your environment. This is exactly what's happening at the Oasis, at the Oasis of Opportunity retreat. Now, I've been wanting to do retreats for a long time. And we have always been playing with doing the retreat. And then now we've got our agenda and the experience. What are we going to value this at? What are we charging to go? 7,500 keeps being our number. I paid 10,000 for other retreats. I'm like, I don't want to do 10,000. 7,500 is where we're going to be. We're not going to charge $7,500 because, in all transparency, this is our first retreat. We've done workshops before, we've done our own in-person conference. This very intimate, special experience is newer. So it's $3,999 for this retreat, just under $4,000 for the full experience. We're doing a follow-up Zoom call afterwards as well to create some of that accountability and check in with our attendees. Now, I want you to, something I ask all the time when I'm investing is, how can I multiply it? How can I 2x, 3x, 10x my investment? So for you, if you were thinking about this and it's a $4,000 investment, let's say, to attend, and then you'll have your travel, let's say, how can I 3x it? How can I turn this into 4,000 investment into a 12,000 revenue? You could make back $12,000 in one day from what you get out of this retreat. This is something that I feel very confident that you will make this money back quickly. One thing could completely change your business. And the amount of time we're going to have together, and because it's so intimate, I think you're going to get more than one thing. But this is a place I really want you to think about. Can I grow my business? Can I multiply my investment? And I believe that you can. And why I believe this is it's so hard for us to see the picture when we're in the frame. And that's why I love hot seats so much. That's why I love getting out of our business, getting out of the business to work on the business, having people look in at your frame and see your picture and see your business and hear your challenges. It's a lot easier for us to identify what some of the root cause could be, what the change needs to happen, the transformation, what thing you need, what tool, what system, what plan, what strategy, whatever that is that you need that can catapult you or make life easier or save you so much time. And so I'm excited to be looking in on our attendees' pictures and helping them. Imagine what can happen for you after 2 full days. 2 full days. We would love to see you there. So you have to apply. You could scan this code, or you could go to crystalmediaco.com/oasis. And we do this because it's a very special group. We want to make sure that we have the right people in the room. And if we need more questions from you, we'll jump on a call and just ask those questions. Like I said, at this point, we have 8 tickets left. So you can apply by scanning, going to that link. We put it in the chat as well. We'll also email these out. And if you have questions about this retreat, I want you to personally email me. This is a experience that's very close to me and my heart. And I want you to know if it's right or not. And let's talk about it. So email me, crystal@crystalmediaco.com. And I'd be honored to help you in a much deeper way. Let's transform your business and maybe even your life together. I truly would be honored. I'll keep this up. And I just want to take a peek. I haven't seen any additional chats come in, but if you have any questions, feel free to chat those in. And then just to give you a little sneak peek for what's coming tomorrow. Tomorrow is our growth and visibility day. So this is going to be a little bit more tactical on tools to use, prompts to use with AI. Now that we know our goals, we have more of a structure with our vision and where we're going. We can take those things and use these tools to really save us a lot of time and help us achieve that success. So Growth and Visibility Day is a fun day. And really it's our 3rd day because we got to work on the mindset stuff first and the structure of what we're doing in those routines. So that's what we got to do here on day 1 and day 2. I don't see any additional questions, so we will conclude today's webinar, but I just want to thank you for being here again. If you're live, Pauline says, great second day. Yes, I agree. Thank you for being live and chatting in. Like, I love when you're chatting in and sharing. That really is a great experience for us all. So thank you for those who participated. And then I will see you tomorrow, same time, same place. Have a great day. Take action on what you're learning.